Welcome back, everybody, to Star Wars The Force Unleashed for the PS2. I am Shakti.
You're not Shakti.
I Shakti.
You're not Shakti.
It's not Shakti.
I Shakti.
I think I know a Shakti when I see one. And you, sir, don't seem like a Shakti to me.
We've been doing some Talk to Transformers, Star Wars edition, and we came up with a brand new Jedi named Jaun. Remember the last episode? Can we for one, describe what he looks like, Jaun?
Jaun?
Yeah, so I can have like a good thumbnail for him.
He's a ginger.
Oh, cool.
He's got hair like on the back, like the length of Qui-Gon's, but bald on top. So hair around on the sides.
He's got a skullet.
Exactly. Like skull is bald. It goes about halfway up. Like his hair goes about halfway up his head. He's a ginger, bright red hair. And then it goes down like past his shoulders.
He's got a soul patch.
Ooh.
Just a soul patch.
Just
soul patch, and it's like thick. Like it is grown out.
Yeah.
But it's very constrained just to that little strip. But what is there is very, very long and grown out.
Okay.
He's got
his
like
lightsaber. Does he have a lightsaber?
What color is his lightsaber? It's dark green.
Dark green.
Yeah, remember? It's dark green.
It was
No,
in
I
the
haven't
story.
been. I haven't been really paying attention, so I didn't recall if there was a lightsaber. But
How dare you? We're building lore for Jaun, and you're slacking.
I'm slacking by playing this game.
Dude.
Dang it!
I'm building some
okay.
Jaun Pira lore right now.
Okay.
It's pretty ridiculous.
So remind everybody who Pyrrha is.
I don't know, she just popped up in the last story.
Okay, so we're gonna say like love
Jaun
interest?
was fighting with Pyrrha. Or like not with against her, but like with her,
Okay.
I think. I'm just a second, let me see if this last more ends satisfactory. Of course it doesn't. God damn it.
I've got one too that immediately takes a turn.
Oh no! Is it gonna be canon for the Jaun story?
No, but
Okay.
it's still going to be a fun one.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna do one
Vader
last
took-
more. Okay,
Well,
go for it.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
go.
Yeah, Wilson, go.
Go. Wilson.
This is one that, I just want to tell you right now, this is one that when I get to the end of it, you guys might find that it merits a more. Just let me know. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Darth Vader took Jaun's hand in a gentle hug.
Oh.
Good girl. He kissed her, one hand cupping her cheek, the other resting on the back of her chair. Now you've got to take care of that. Jaun blinked, not a little surprised. I know. He tried again, this time feeling all the same excitement. I'm going to take care of that right now. Where'd you get this? Darth Vader leaned down just a little and whispered. That's it.
What?
Oh,
I need to
shit,
know
dude.
more. That totally
What does he
justifies
do?
it more.
What does he whisper?
Yeah.
Can he whisper?
Yeah, that's true. Can he whisper? I never thought about that.
Is that like if a tree fell in the woods?
Yeah.
Does Darth
The Vader,
whisper?
if the Vader tries to whisper,
Once again, it immediately takes a turn you're not expecting.
Great.
dude. Yeah, do a more because like my saga of Jaun and Pyrrha is almost a novel at this point. So
Okay, so Darth Vader leaned down just a little and whispered something to the small girl before taking her arm. With a small yelp, she dropped to her knees and started sobbing, sobs that made their way through the tiny living room as the three men watched in awe. When he finally looked up, they couldn't find anything else in the house, not even a single book about the Empire. They didn't recognize Vader, however. Yeah, you are, and you are the best. She shook her head.
Wow, that was great.
wow.
I was just expecting him to lean down and whisper to Jaun, but all of a sudden he's whispering to a little girl and taking her arm and just dropping to her knees and sobbing.
So, like, I haven't read mine yet, but something that I've noticed is that I'm not sure. There's a couple times it's either unsure of Jaun or Pyrrha's like gender.
Okay.
Because there's a couple times where I'm just like, what? So, all right, so my prompt, it wasn't a funny prompt. It was just kind of a basic prompt. I was like, this could get sexy if it wanted to. Was Jown, the Jedi, and Pyrrha looked longingly into each other's eyes. So that's the first sentence. So, the story. Fucking sit down, grab some snacks.
All right,
This is going to be a little bit. All right, so I haven't read this yet either. So, Jown the Jedi and Pyrrha looked longingly into each other's eyes. They didn't need to look at anyone else, for they were close enough to see how much Jown really cared about Pyrrha. Jown closed his eyes and looked to Pyrrha. A tear ran down her cheek as her fingers dug into her white hair, and her eyes met with the blackness of his eyes. Without even a warning, Pyrrha dropped to her knees, her hand gripping his waist, her eyes wide in horror. It was as if someone ripped off his eyes. I can't, Jown, Pyrrha said, staring up into his eyes with her eyes wide and unable to bring herself to blink. Do you want me to stop? But, Jown asked, as if he couldn't comprehend. There's no other way. What about you? Pyrrha asked, as they stood in a momentary huddle. Jown felt his heartbeat slow slightly, but he couldn't help but laugh. His smile widened slightly. The other three nodded. Nodded.
Excuse me. Jown nodded.
The other three nodded, and Jown's attention shifted back to Pyrrha. She slowly began to undo the clasp on her arm as she took a couple breaths, her face ashen and her eyes unfocused. Jown let his head drop down so that he was face to face. So he was faced to Pyrrha and gave his best man a proud smile.
Okay.
You're going to do everything to get me back, Jown said softly, his expression hardened with disappointment. Pyrrha let out a choked gasp, her mouth hanging open in the back of her throat, and was sobbing softly. Jown let out a soft laugh and pushed her back to her feet. Pyrrha leaned up against him and kissed him quickly. It was an obvious attempt at making him happy, something he had tried to avoid ever since he got back. Pyrrha reached for the other hand that had been holding Jown's wrist and pulled it away, letting the other man put his hand over hers, his other hand rubbing his back. I can't, he whispered quietly, his voice deep and grave. You can if you want to, Pyrrha said in a low tone. I can't. It's been so long since we felt like that. Jown leaned in close for a whisper and let his voice grow soft. I think I can talk you out of it. Will you? He said in a hushed voice. Pyrrha couldn't tell if he was joking or not, but she was certain he was. But she shook her head. No, I can't. I have to do what I have to do. Pyrrha's body tensed as Jown was about to take her again, but he was holding her up by his arm, his other hand rubbing his back. You're going to go down the hall to the nurse's station, he said softly. Pyrrha hesitated, but Jown continued to kiss her, stroking her head as if she was distracted by the sounds of Grimm coming from the opposite room. They went down to the nurse's station, and Pyrrha put her hand to her throat as she waited for him to say, Go on, but he only said, Just go. They walked back to the nurse's room, Pyrrha leaning against a wall to keep her eyes shut as Jown stood in front of her and rubbed at her eyes, gently caressing the creases and shadows on her skin. The nurse was dressed very conservatively, but when Jown reached her, he put his hand to her shoulder. Is she going to have anything for me tonight? He asked. Pyrrha took the brief glance at the nurse's dress shirt and noticed how pale it had gotten. She was about to push the button but paused when she saw the smile on the nurse's face. Of course she's... I'm glad. Jown looked at the nurse's face, but only her hair was still. He smiled back. I should be up for now, so you can clean, but you've got to leave me alone. She gave him a hug and turned away before sitting next to him. Hey, you two okay? Pyrrha said as she leaned against the wall next to Jown. The nurse was sitting on her own bed in her room, her back leaning into the wall with a scowl plastered to her face. Her eyes were open and her expression was one of confusion as her hand slid up the back of her arms and pulled down her shirt to reveal a black leather waistcoat.
Whoa.
She looked back at him and sighed before opening her mouth as she looked at Jown. Jown, Where did you leave that? She asked. Jown turned his head slightly to look at her, and she quickly glanced up at the wall and saw Pyrrha smiling at him. She pulled her hand away from his and opened it to her breast to see her breast bounce up and down with each motion of his hand.
Hello.
Oh, God! Pyrrha felt her face warm up on the back of her hand. She looked at Jown and held her gaze as he continued to watch her. The truth is, I don't know if I want to look like this, and I know this bothers you, but if you were here today, I guess I would just do something. He gave her a look of guilt in the background as he looked away from her as he smiled, and he looked over at Pyrrha. We should go now and get some rest. End of story.
Wow.
That's nuts.
I was amazed, like, because again, that was my first time reading it. I had read bits and pieces just to see like how it ended, and it was like, well, I'll hit more. But like, I was like, oh, this is kind of a tender thing, and then there's war, and then I'm like, what's the nurse gonna do? And then as I was reading it, it started to kind of get dirty. It started to get to boobies, and then it's like, and then it kind of went back again, and I was like, oh.
So there I really enjoyed about that.
Mm-hmm.
The first being, there was a big stretch in there where you were saying like normal words for a good minute and a half, and then the end of a sentence came "jowd," and the way that it fucking sounded after all the other normal words, it's like you had the stroke, you had it happen to you. You just
Jowd.
Secondly,
yes.
There were a couple times where it just kept talking about Jown and his eyes and Pyrrha and her eyes. He touched her eyes. He looked at her eyes with his eyes. She accepted
He closed his eyes and looked down at her.
And like talking about him like rubbing her eyes.
Rubbing eyes,
and
rubbing
some dude
arms.
kept rubbing him back. Like, rubbing his back.
Her skin around her eyes and like looking at the shadows of the folds of her skin around her eyes.
So much eyes and rubbing arms and rubbing back happened so many times.
This fucking computer, and it doesn't know human anatomy.
No. And then like
It's trying
they
to be
went
sensual.
to the nurse, and it's
trying
like
to be sensual.
it's like, oh, we got to go to the nurse's station. So they go to the nurse's station, and nothing like health or medical related happens. They just talk, and more rubbing happens. And then for some reason, the nurse opens her shirt, and there's leather waistcoats. And then there's boob, and then boob move up and down, and then like what's happening? And it never turns to anything medical. They just have more conversations after like Pyrrha gets a little fucking awkward because the boob touching and moving happens.
I kept hoping that the eyes would come back into it, and he started rubbing her.
Oh my god. I am screenshotting this so I have it for all eternity.
That's a long one. That was a super long one, and
I know. I told you,
like,
dude. Kick back, because it never ended in a satisfactory place. Like
Yeah.
I had to keep going.
Discord.
I will.
That was beautiful, and we'll have to end it there, everybody.
So romantic. Please rub my eyes.
We need to go rub our backs and rub our eyes now.
Yeah, and close her eyes and look at somebody.
That sounds super
Be
deep.
sure to
like
let
a
your loved
computer-
ones know
a
by
computer thinks
rubbing
that's
their
super deep.
eyes.
Dude,
Look at their eyes with your eyes.
I thought it was getting to a sexy place where it was like, then she got down on her knees and grabbed his waist, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But then it was like, and then she looked up at him in horror, and I was like, what? What happened?
Oh no.
Oh god.
Sorry, I had to get down low for that abject terror.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Buddy, hope you enjoyed those Talk to Transformers Star Wars editions.
Yeah.
What's so funny?
I hit more again. I wanted to know more.